Support for Talking Town is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. Hold up, fellas. I don't think we've quite understood what I'm talking about here. We've gone years in the UK without using the right tools for the job. Long gone are the days of a razor blade in the mirror. No more shall we look like Sideshow Bob down there. Manscaped have redesigned the electric trimmer. Their engineering team have perfected the greatest ball hair trimmer ever created and have just released the new and improved Lawnmower 3.0 in the UK. Their third generation trimmer features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents because nobody wants a bloodbath in the bathroom. Did I tell you it's got waterproof technology so you can dim those lights, get yourself in the shower and groom to your heart's content? Whatever you do, however you do it with Manscaped's Lawnmower 3.0. And don't forget, you can get 20% off and free delivery with the code TT. Manscaped.com. Make your testies their besties. Hello again, my friends, and you are my friends. For those joining us from the first show, welcome back. We just broke down how we feel Ipswich Town season's going to be. The link for that video is in the description if you're watching this back anytime other than Thursday the 5th of August. A lot of said in that show, a lot said about how we feel a Town are going to do. This is the League One preview show. Going to be joined by the same three wonderful people and a legend of the Wigan podcasting game, Mr. Baz. Looking forward to seeing how Barry feels we're going to do this year, what they feel the rest of League One are going to do. I do know there's two football teams that have pissed a lot of people off. Let's be honest, flashing the cash, checkbook FC, all of that silly jazz. But come May, will it result in a promotion for the both of us, the one of us, or none of us? Baz is not looking confident as I say promotions. That worries me. I might have to review my own situation here of how I've got the league table. So get a few comments coming in before we bring in our guest. We've got Ben Moore, pitch invasion if we win the title. Matt Stannard, the seats are getting revamped so we can keep all our seats too if we win the league. If we win the league. You got to love it, right? I can't see why we can't win the league, but there we go. As always, we are brought to you by Manscaped. Get 20% off and free delivery with the code TT. And, of course, our partners, Away Day Beers. This is their best one, if you ask me. They're all good, but that is my absolute favourite. Bundeslager, not yet tried that one. Looking forward to cracking that open at 6:10 with 3 points in the bank. And tonight I am drinking a Brazil's Best. They do have a new advert, which I will play for you. Because it'd be rude not to. There we go. Right. We are now going to crack on with this show. Personally, top 6 from Facebook user. HCH, I'll call you H. If we're getting new seats, get the same ones as Stadium MK, most comfy in the league. Can't say I've been to MK, but I reckon Baz has. Let's bring Baz in. Baz, welcome in, my man, our Wigan contingent. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room. We are both pissing sending people off in League One with our spending. How are you seeing it on your side of the fence, my man?
Yeah, absolutely. We boiling the piss of the Sunderland supporters because we're taking most of the side from last season. But in fairness, we've only paid fees for 2 players. Rochdale undisclosed for Stevie Humphries, and yesterday we bought Jordan Jones from Sunderland. Not from Sunderland, he was on loan at Sunderland, from Rangers for another undisclosed fee. So we are signing players, but we needed 2 because at the end of last season we had 5 on the books. that was it. So, and we've still only got 17. So we've brought 12 in. We've got 17 players. So we need another 6, yeah? So let's keep boiling that piss.
Absolutely. So even though you're the same boat as us, so to speak, in terms of boiling the piss of League One, and I love that phrase, you've still got a very sort of small squad by the sounds of it.
Yeah, we have, and I think that's at this moment in time that is holding back a little bit of the confidence going forward. Strength in depth, obviously. So suspensions, injuries as the season proceeds. Where we're going to end up. But there is talk that there's going to be at least another 5 coming in. We've not signed anybody on loan yet, so we've kept all our options open, and I think we've got a strong first 11.
Okay, absolutely. Well, strong first 11. Hopefully not too strong. When we play you twice, you're going to put any points past us. But we have got the rest of them joining us now. Thankfully, they've come in from the smoking area of the Talking Town Tavern. Matt, Tux, and Cruncher, welcome back. Wigan,
Hi.
Pissing boiling the piss of the rest of the League One, as Barry just put it. How have you been seeing their summer so far, Matt?
Well, Wigan's, I think they're gonna have a good. I think they're gonna have a good season. I mean, the guy I was reading in 442 Mag Barry, Sean Livesey.
Yeah,
he said you could finish anywhere between mid-table and top.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a lot of League One, though, isn't it, really?
I feel sorry for Wigan because I was one of these people, Barry, that thought you shouldn't have been relegated. I couldn't see how you could have a new owner, deliberately puts you into administration and then get relegated. How's that work?
Yeah. Don't take me back to last July.
Yes, I'm bringing back bad vibes here, aren't I? How's your arm, by the way? Your arm, didn't you?
Oh, I hurt me. Yeah, my knee's worse. I'm doing the Wigan 10K in 4 weeks, so I've been training and took a tumble on Saturday, and my knee started swelling up. So I went for a bike ride on the Sunday to loosen my knees up along the canal near Wigan Pier, and came off the bike and nearly ended up in the canal.
Nasty, Barry. You've got to be careful on those bikes. You've got to be careful on those bikes. Tuck, you were late back. I know you were late back because of the link, but were you really getting the champagne on ice for the coronation of Ipswich Town as champions there?
You know about bikes, Martin? Matt still has stabiliser on his, isn't he?
I've not been on a bike for years, you know.
Bless him. Bless him. It's not his fault.
It's good. You're going on about Wigan getting the points deduction there, Matt. And if they hadn't, Paul Cook wouldn't be town manager, would he? He'd still be at Wigan now.
Yeah. Well, that's a great point, and that leads me to a question. Sorry, Tux. Matty Willis, question for Baz: how do you see Cook performing without Liam Richardson, and vice versa?
That's a bit of a toughie, really. I think Cookie will do fine. He's got his trusted lieutenants around him. I heard you mention that phrase earlier on when you're talking about Lee Evans. He's got Gary Roberts there with him and a few of the other backroom staff. Paul Cook always wins the first game of the season, so get your money on that. Always wins it. He's done it every year. I'm tipping Ipswich to win the league. You'll be surprised with his own team, his own players. Just watch him going. I know you said you thought it was a slow starter, a slow burner. No, when he took us up, 2017, we flew out the blocks. Fantastic to watch. You're in for a ride this season without any shadow of a doubt.
Oh, Tux, hearing Barry say that, obviously he's watched a Cookie side. How does that get you?
Yeah, I'm pleased that he's our manager, and he was one of the. I think he's probably only one of two that we really wanted to get in. But yeah, he obviously plays attacking, expansive football, and that's what we've always been crying out for at Portman Road, because we haven't seen that really since kind of Joe Royal, really. So yeah, it's a good manager to have. I think he's building a fairly decent sort of coaching staff around him as well. But just on your point earlier with Wigan, I think they're in a similar situation as what we are. There's so many bodies coming through the door. They've got a gel and everything else, but they're signing good players. They're not just signing shit. They're signing good players. Like they've got Charlie Wyke, top goal scorer last year. I think he'll be Green Edwards, yeah. But I think Charlie's going to be one of them players that you got to get that service into him, and I think that was why he scored so many goals at Sunderland, because he had McGeady coming back into the side to whipping crosses, and most of those goals came from McGeady's assists. So if Guion can get those crosses in, which he never really could at Ipswich, but he might have a new lease of life at Wigan and get those crosses in. But that's where Charlie White will come good in the box and heading those goals in for you, I think.
Yeah.
I know. I've got a question for Barry. I know Matt thinks this a little bit. If it all goes a bit pear-shaped for Richardson at Wigan, do you see him linking up with Cook?
No, if it goes pear-shaped, there's no. He's got himself at least a year for what he did last season with us. Absolutely, he's an hero. The fans love him. The new board love him. He says all the right stuff. He's going nowhere this season. No matter what happens, he's going nowhere. If at the end of the season, they're good pals, aren't they? That's the thing. They're very good pals. They've been together a long time. But no, I don't actually. I think he's standing on his own 2 feet now. Liam Richardson is very tactically astute. He knows how he wants to play. We played very similar to how we played under Cook. So obviously they've got the same school of thought. But no, I don't see him doing that. I think if he doesn't take us up this season, which I don't think we will go up, I think next year will be the big push and he'll get us promoted next season.
And that's something you said when we sat down for the Meet the Opposition series back end of last year. You said Liam was always in his ear giving tactical advice, and it was a very tactically astute manager. I've got a question here from Simon Gregory to yourself, Barry. Ipswich have brought in Lee Evans. Have Wigan replaced him with equal, if not better?
Well, I know Simon, and he's not a big Lee Evans fan, so I know where he's coming from with that. Lee Evans is a different type of player than what we've brought in. And we've brought in Jordan Cousins, Max Powers come back to the club, and Tom Naylor. All 3 of those are completely different to Lee Evans. Lee Evans is like a quarterback, can spray the ball around. He hasn't got a lot of pace about him. He's a big lad, so he doesn't move about a lot. But his footballing brain's second to none. We've brought in different players, so it's hard to tell, and I won't like to judge that. You've got yourself a great signing there. Whether he'll be your player of the season or not, like I heard one of you say earlier on, I very much doubt that. Because he is a little bit injury prone as well. But he is a gem, and he'll do the business for you.
Don't be saying that, Barry. He's already spent a couple of weeks on the sidelines injured. Our next in line is probably young. He must be still in high school, I reckon. He's that young. That's a worry, isn't it, Tux, when you hear he's injury prone and he's always spent 10 days on the sideline? Yeah,
well, we're not very good with injuries ourselves.
Exactly.
So it's a little worry hearing that, but I think hopefully we've got players sort of coming in as well to have competition in that central midfield area. But yeah, with the replacements that you've got there for Wigan, Max Power is a solid signing for you at this level. I wouldn't have been too disappointed to have him at Town, really. So he's a good player.
Absolutely. Yeah. He knows the club as well. He knows the club. He spent 4 years with us. He's won 2 promotions with us. Again, he's really liked by the supporters for his off the field antics as well as he's on the field. We got promotion at Doncaster, and he was running around with a flower in his hand. He gets us. He gets the crowd, and he's from Birkenhead, so he's a typical Scouser. He's a brilliant character, and to be honest with you, he's been shining in pre-season. So I'm really pleased Max is back.
Right. Should we get on with some predictions for the year then? Before we do, got Ryan Senior. Don't worry, we'll make him uninjury prone. Yeah, because Ryan, we've always had a history of doing that with people. Leighton. So Wednesday have lost Windass for 3 months. Burton have lost both New Stroke for 6 months. So everyone gets injuries. Yeah, I'm not quite at the position crunch to not worry about injuries. We're still Ipswich Town until proven otherwise. And I know you're saying you're not worried in terms of Edmondson, for example.
I was going to say.
But I am, because we've been proven to have this issue and have it majorly.
What is the issue with Edmondson? Does anyone know?
Well, I've heard a few things. I'm not going to say them, but yeah.
What, the long term? Short term?
Short term.
Yeah, it doesn't worry me. If someone misses 2 or 3 games at the start of the season, rather than 2 or 3 months, that doesn't worry me. If he's got a little niggle, it's like Fraser. I don't think Fraser will play Saturday. He's think he's got a bit of a calf. So anyone carrying any injuries at the minute, we're pretty paper thin at the minute, aren't we? Really, when you look at it, our squad. So we don't really need to have 2 or 3 long-term injuries because it could bite us. But I think if they're going to miss a couple of games, it's fair enough, and you move on.
Guilty is in terms of injuries. It's guilty until proven innocent in this, in that respect, because we've been so guilty of having a major injury crisis.
That's how we're sort of programmed at the minute, because that's what we think, isn't it? We think a player like Vincent Young, he was out, and then you thought he'd come back, and then he was injured again, and it's just we've got to get out of that mindset. I think we've got all these new sports science people at the club, and I'm sure going forward, hopefully this season, it'll be better on the injury front.
All right. So, where do you want to start? We've got who will finish inside the top 6, or who will finish inside the bottom 4. Let's start with the clubs that no one's going to care about come May in this chat, because we're going to be part of it. Or we hopefully certainly won't be. Touch wood. So, who will finish inside the bottom 4? Tuck, kick us off with who you feel your bottom 4 are going to be.
So I've listed my bottom 4 from 21 to 24. So 21st, Cheltenham, 22nd, Wimbledon, 23rd, Cambridge, and 24th, Morecambe.
Oh, okay. Cambridge. I sneakily like Cambridge. Not enough to put as a dark horse, but
Alex Griffin on his prediction, Martin, had him in 10th.
Wow. Yeah, well, that's a naivety of youth, isn't it?
Been smoking some of Callie's green shoots.
Good grief, Matt. Do you disagree with Tux at all?
No, I've got it exactly the same as Tux. I think Morecambe, huge turnaround. I think they're going to struggle. New manager, I think they'll struggle. Cambridge have lost Paul Mullen to Wrexham of all teams. Where's their goals going to come from now?
Deadpool United.
Again, Wimbledon lost Pickett to us. Where's the goals going to come from?
You didn't rate a minute ago.
And in Cheltenham, I think they will struggle, even though they came up as champions. I think they will struggle. I can't see where the goals are going to come from for them either. So, yeah, I agree with Tux. That 4.
Is it as cut and dry as this, Barry? Two contributors agreeing already. You're going to go for a third, or you got somebody different to bring to the party?
I've got somebody else to throw in the mix. I think this is the year Wimbledon will go down. I mean, they've been in and around there quite a lot,
didn't they?
Yeah. Cambridge, I agree with Mullins going. It's a big blow for them. And then 2 clubs with possibly the lowest budgets in the division, or not in the entire league, Accrington and Morecambe. I think, again, Morecambe losing the manager the way they did. I think that was not very nice of him, actually, to walk away.
No, it's weird.
And I fear for them, because if they go down, they might end up with that bounce and find themselves struggling in League 2 again next season. It's a bit of a fear for them.
Yeah.
So, Accrington I'm throwing in that mix, and I see Cheltenham just scraping safety.
It's funny because Accrington are a team that are consistently crunch sort of, they're punched above their weight. Last year they had a mini flirtation with the playoffs, but eventually that's got to run out.
They've still got Dion Charles and they've still got Colby Bishop there, so I think they'll get some. I just think the teams who are going to struggle are going to be the teams, like you say, Cambridge. Who's scoring the goals for them? Mullen gets 34 goals and that's suddenly disappeared. I think it's Ironside was the next top scorer. I think he got about 13, 14 goals. I've got them finishing dead bottom, Cambridge. And I live in Cambridgeshire, and I used to go and watch Cambridge a little bit in the 90s when Town were away. David Crown, do you remember him, Matt, playing?
Yeah, played for Southend as well.
I've got a bit of a soft spot for Cambridge, so I'd like to see him stay up. Obviously, Jack's gone there. I think he's injured at the minute. He's not played a lot of pre-season.
What game?
Yeah, he's injured. I can't see Cambridge finishing anywhere other than bottom. I honestly can't.
You see, you say that, but then there's always a surprise. Not surprising in the sense of, they come from nowhere to finish 6th, but somebody that stays up that shouldn't. I mean, that's my theory on it. I don't know. You sometimes it can be so cut and dry as everyone's saying it can be. Leighton, Accrington are class. We never beat them. Fisherman says Wimbledon will be fine. Be interested to know why you feel these teams will be fine, guys. If you do think a team will be fine, let us know in the chat. Always open to what you've got to say. You know that. Simon Gregory, Bolton are going down, Baz.
Hopefully.
Well, Bolton are quite favoured by the bookies, in the sense of a newly promoted side. So that would be a surprising going down, wouldn't it? I know you're saying it from a position of...
No, definitely not.
I know. All right. Matt, Roberto, Leo, Stanley. Watching Cheltenham every week, it was no surprise Man City struggled to score in the Cup. That will save Cheltenham. Nick's gone Fleetwood, Morecambe, Cheltenham, and Burton has been thrown in there.
Burton won't go down.
Let's say that.
Jimmy Floyd's got them playing well.
Yeah, they were. I mean, if he take over earlier, they may have reached the playoffs there, Matt.
Yeah. I think. I mean, I see Steve Parry saying in the chat there that they've maybe lost 2 strikers, but I mean, his remit, Hasselbank, wasn't it, was to keep them up, which he did brilliantly, absolutely fantastic. I would argue he was actually manager of the year out of all 4 divisions.
Yeah.
To actually come out of the managerial wilderness and to do that was fantastic. Now, of course, he's got a different remit, hasn't he? What is the goal of Burton this season? To finish mid-table, to push for playoffs? I don't know. But we will see. But I think they will have a decent season if their players stay fit. I think is it Bothwick, is it? The guy with the big beard? He's a pivotal player for him, I think. Yeah. I think he's a pivotal player for him, that guy. Yeah.
I am going to go with Morecambe, which is, standard. Cheltenham. I'm going to go with Crewe, Crunch. I think second season syndrome will hit Crewe a little bit.
Lost some players.
Yeah.
And I can't decide. I've got as Big Al. I've got MK Dons flirting with relegation. I
Really?
really have. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the team that will look back in 12 months' time and view Russell Martin with a particular way of looking at Russell Martin. That squad's being built for Russell. He's not there. There's tip for success. New guy coming in, hit the ground running.
Morris to go there.
If you don't hit the ground running, Crunch, I bet you within 4 or 5 months we're talking about somebody else in charge of MK, and then it just descends into a farce. And it's one of those seasons where you go in what could have been. I don't know. MK Dons possibly flirting with it. Matt, do you think MK Dons have got any chance of flirting with it?
What, in terms of getting relegated? No, I don't think so.
How about Plymouth?
You did tip Burton to get promoted last season, just so Barry knows.
I did. I did also say several other things as well that episode. I'm not going to repeat. How about Plymouth? I'll go Plymouth. There you go. Plymouth is 4th from bottom.
Yeah.
I spoke to Colin before and I said they're not in my bottom 4, but they're just outside because I think Jeffcott's goals really dried up, didn't they, after Christmas? I know he's still there, but they sort of had a stinking run for about 2 months and look, they got quite a lot of points early doors, so they were all right. But I think if they start poorly, I do like Ryan Lowe. I think he's a really underrated coach. I like him. He's obviously a scouser as well. And I think they'll be all right, but I think they'll be in the shake-up somewhere. But I think they'll survive.
I want to just ask Barry about a team in particular that this team may come up, it may not. Gillingham. Bookies view them as middle of the pack. I'm not a huge Steve Evans fan. They had a fairly decent year, but they've had a big turnover of player, as many clubs have in this division. How are you viewing a team like Gillingham this year?
Horrible football under Evans. Absolutely awful.
True.
I don't know. I think the fact there was no crowd on last season helped them to have the season they had, which I think they overperformed.
Good point.
Very bully boy type of team. I don't think that'll work this season. I can see them struggling. I really can.
Yeah, good shout. All right. How about our surprise package then? Let's go.
You've done one bottom 4 yet.
I have not. I do apologise. Oh, sorry. Go on then. Sorry, I'll let you go first next time as well.
Cambridge finishing bottom. And then I've got Morecambe. I've got AFC Wimbledon as well, because I think Piggott's goals were a massive factor in them staying up.
Yes.
And they have been the last couple of years. And I've got Fleetwood going down. I just think, who's getting the goals? They've got Ched Evans, he went last season. Paddy Madden went to Stockport. They've obviously lost Wes Burns. I think they're really going to struggle. I think they punch above their weight as it is, and I think they're going to be in the mix at the end of the season. I think they'll be down there. I think Plymouth will be down there. And I also agree with you, Martin, about Crewe. If they lose Charlie Kirk and Dale, I think they're going to struggle. And like you say, second season syndrome. They've done really well last year. They play really good football. I know Matt's a big fan of the manager there.
David Attell. Yeah, it's good.
But I think, they'll be in the mix. But I'll stick Fleetwood in there.
I think a couple of these teams got to remember, Tux, is I was listening to Darren McAnthony speaking earlier, and there's going to be a trickle-down effect at some point in this window you have to fill, because once the Premier League teams start sort of spending, that goes down to the Championship teams. You know, your Bournemouth and co. Then they go down to say your Peterboroughs, and then where the teams like Peterborough go, they go to the Kirks. They go to these players that we've been talking about here. So you've got to feel some of these Dion Charleses, etc. They might not be here in the League One after August.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, it's one of these sort of things where you get to the end of the season, everyone starts doing their business all of a sudden, you know, it's obviously because of the Premier League cut their squads, and you know, players find themselves out the door, or you know, surplus to requirements. So yeah, it sort of filters down from there, as you're saying. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. But I think there's some good clubs in this league this year. I think it's always tough, but you know, there's some very good clubs in there this year. You've got to look at, you know, sort of Rotherham and, you know, solid sort of team at this sort of level. You know, Lincoln, you know, they could probably do it again as well. But yeah, I think, you know, in terms of a surprise package, if you like, I think for me it's Charlton. I think they're going to have a good season this year.
Charlton surprise package. That's and you're perfectly right in what you say. But in what way are we quantifying this prize package is then? Because Charlton for me would be, if they finished in 5th, I would be surprised.
No, but I think for me it's they look like a side that could probably be in the middle or finish in the playoffs, if you know what I mean. They're an odd side. I don't think they'll go up automatically, but they've done well, I think, in the window. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's a few there, I'd say. I think for me, when I was just looking at my notes now, I think it would probably be Charlton. I mean, I'd like to say Lincoln, but I'm just thinking how much
Teddy
of
Bishop.
an effect. Well, yeah, but I'm just thinking how much of effect. Because their manager's not very well at the moment, is he?
He's back now, Tux.
Oh, he is he?
Yeah, he's back training, Michael.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, maybe Lincoln then. So, yeah, either Charlton or Lincoln. But, yeah, I think, like teams that have come down like Wickham, I think they're going to have a sort of solid season. I like Ainsworth. I rate him as a manager. But if I had to stick one out there, I'd probably say Charlton. Okay.
It's a fair point he makes there, though, Matt, about the manager. Because obviously he's back now, and we hope he stays back all season. But you never know, and it could be a bit of a roller coaster for Lincoln in that respect. Charlton, just to put meat on the bone before I let you have your surprise package there, Matt. Charlton, they are 7-2. So I mean, the bookies like them.
I've got Charlton in my top 6. I think they've done well in the transfer market. They've got that keeper in from Pompey, haven't they? McGilvray, yeah, got him in. Got that Jaden Stockley in. I think the question mark's over Adkins, even though I'm a big Adkins fan, albeit mostly for his Twitter feed, which I think is really good. He's been out of the game a long time. I just wonder if things don't go well for them, they don't get off to a good start, or they have a run of results, he might just say, sod it, I'll go off and do something else. So that's the only question mark I've got for them. But I would expect them to be top 6.
Okay. So who's your surprise package then? Mr.
Well, don't hate me, Barry, but I'm saying Bolton.
11-2 with the bookies, Bolton.
Barry has left the show, everybody.
Why Bolton, man?
I mean, I think they've got a good young manager in Ian Evatt. And I think they've got momentum, because I think if you think back to about January time, they was in like the relegation zone, or flirting about relegation.
19th. They were 19th, Matt, in February.
Yeah, and then suddenly they skyrocketed it up to what? They finished 3rd, did they, in the end?
Yeah, finished 3rd, and they went up last night.
So you can't rule out promotion. You can't rule out the magic of momentum, effectively, for them. They've signed Josh Sheehan from Newport, who I thought was a really good player. I used to think Ipswich should maybe look at him. But, they've got a kid in defence called Santos I'm hearing good things about. I think he might be Portuguese. He's almost like a CDM. He can play the ball out quite nicely. So I think they could bring some momentum to League One.
Was that Georgios Santos, was it?
He could also play
the Battle of Bramall Lane.
Oh yeah, if no one's seen that, the Battle of Bramall Lane that Matt just said, just go on YouTube and put United versus West Brom in.
What do you think, Barry? What do you think about one? Am I wide of the mark there? Or do you think that could happen? Be a dark horse.
I think you're a little bit wide of the mark, because Everett's been whinging away in the local press about us spending and about you spending. And like I said before, we've only bought 2 players. You know, they've signed George Johnson, who we had on loan last season. He's a good, solid player, but he's not somebody to break your heart over, the fact that we've lost out to him. You know, but I think they offered him a 3-year deal. We were offering him a 2-year deal, so we went there. But you're not hearing any noises. The only noises we're hearing from Bolton is that the skint. That's all we're hearing. They've still got problems, off the field. And we're getting a lot of grief off their supporters, as you'd expect us to get anyway. But I can't say anything positive about it. I'm sorry.
No, that's absolutely fair enough. It really is. Leighton Durrant, just because teams come down doesn't make them forerunners. Sorry, we'd love to see Bolton do well. Crunch, Bolton. Before you move on to yours, it's an interesting one because they gave their manager a bit of time last year. I remember there was a little bit of noise on Twitter, social media about how they weren't doing great, and he was he was calling out players, I believe, in the radio or whatever.
And he's the goalkeeper, wasn't he? He called out the goalkeeper.
Yeah,
that was early season. He had a young lad in goal, didn't he? And he got
some
quite a bit of stick for that,
with a bit more money, he might have pulled the trigger a bit earlier on the end, but they didn't. Stuck with him, and in the end, it's paid off. Will it again pay off for Bolton this year, or will that sort of man management? The higher you go, the further you get into.
They're another big club, aren't they, guys? When you look at Bolton, it wasn't that long ago they were in the Premier League. So
that's because Barry's here. They're tiny.
Well, yeah, but we've got a bit of history with them, obviously, when Allardyce was there. So I do agree with Matt. It is all about momentum. If they have a good start, they'll probably get decent support, won't they? At the what's it called now? Is it the Reebok? Is it
something else now?
Poundland?
I don't know.
Norwich.
I think they'll have a solid season, but I don't think they'll touch the playoffs. Bolton. They'll probably be mid-table, and they'd probably take. I think I was listening to McAntony's the podcast, Martin, and he said Bolton would probably take a season with no drama, finish mid-table after all the sort of turmoil they've had the last few years. Getting relegated, nearly going out of business. So if they finish sort of 13th, they'll probably take that and then build on that for the next season.
Simon, love Simon's input tonight. Simon, welcome back anytime. Everett has been pathetic in local media. Did a video where he looked like he was going to cry. I love it when a rival manager starts crying because he was signing the likes of why. Love it. Ryan Senior. Imagine Wigan Ipswich's playoff final this year. Oh, yes, we'd love that. Me and Baz, director's seats all the way. I'd have heard your... Hey, why not? Leighton Durrant, University of Bolton Crunch is what the stadium is called. Didn't know they had a university. Carl Brooks, I think Rotherham with surprise package for the wrong reasons. Bottom half finish for them. Barry, who's your surprise package? You can't say Wigan.
No, I'm not going to say us. I was torn between two, and because of the managers, Shrewsbury and Oxford. I thought, Shrewsbury last year until his name's gone out of my head now. Steve Cottrell did an amazing job when he first went in, and then obviously he wasn't well with the COVID, and the results, fell away. So I think if I don't know his situation at the moment, but if he's back there, he's back
now, Barry. He was really. I sent that to you, didn't I, Matt? The interview on the BBC. He was really, really poorly. He was like. At one point, he said when he was at his darkest days, he was frightened of going to sleep at night because he said he didn't know if he's going to wake up in the morning. So, look, it's just great that he's back and healthy.
So, absolutely. But he's got good experience at this level. He's had success with a couple of clubs. And Bristol City springs to mind. He took them up.
They've signed really well, haven't they, Barry? Players like Matthew Pennington, at this level, is a very good centre half.
Yeah. So for me, I don't think they'll break into the playoffs, but I think they'll be, pushing just underneath them and cause a few upsets along the way as well. So I'll go for Shrewsbury. I was going to say Oxford as well, but I'm not a big. Although I think he's a decent manager, I'm not a big fan of Robinson personally.
Yeah, he is a bit Marmite. That is true. Shrewsbury 12-1, Oxford 5-1. So Shrewsbury, I can see how you've gone for that. Actually, can't you, Tux?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've had another good window. So I think there'll be for me, they're a mid-table side. I think for this season. But in terms of a surprise package, they certainly could be that. Yeah. They're
a team I really like their business, and we spoke to the Shrewsbury podcaster. He wasn't as confident as perhaps me and you are, Barry. But that was a couple of weeks ago, and they've signed a couple of extra players since then, and they've got some good additions, pace and experience, and at this level, if you can hurt people with pace, you can normally do fairly decent. So who's our top six then? We said the surprise package. We'll do Underachiever after our top six.
Forgot me again.
Have I again?
Yes, forgot me again. I'm going to go and sit down and watch something on telly.
Go on then. Fuck's sake. Go on then. No, sorry. I've got the dog in.
I've got two teams surprise packages. MK Dons, who I've said before, and I know you said, Martin, about the manager, but I'm just reading here. My other surprise package, you'll probably fall off your chair. I think Cheltenham are going to do a good season, and I think Michael Duff, I was just reading here, he's one of the leading contenders for MK Dons because he done a really good job there last season, got promoted. And I've said before, Matt, watch that Ben Towser and that monster throw because that will cause teams in this division a lot of trouble, especially when you go down there. It's a tight ground, small ground. I think we've only got 900 away tickets you get to go there. I think Cheltenham, I'm not saying they're going to playoffs. I think they'll surprise one or two teams this season.
Well, Matt, who's watching the show, Matt Roberto, he likes Cheltenham a lot.
He's got a season ticket. He supports Town. He's coming to the game Saturday.
Why not?
Town game.
Why not?
And he's bringing his young daughter who's 5 and she wants to come on the show.
Fair play. Cheltenham, that's a big shout. That's like 25-1 with the bookies there, Crunch. Obviously,
I'm not saying they're going to win the league or get in the play. I just think they'll surprise one or two teams. I think this season. And Matt thinks that's going to be a really tough game when we go there. What is it, third game of the season?
Yeah, I think it will.
But that's primarily from a bedding in point of view, isn't it, Matt? That's not from a you're worried about Cheltenham.
No. I just feel like the turnaround of players we've got at Town, it's going to take a while for it to gel. And I think Burton and Cheltenham back to back, and not ideal games particularly, but we'll see. We'll see.
All right.
Because they scored. Matt in the chat there, how many goals did they actually score from that long throw last season? Because I watched the EFL highlights. Nearly every week they scored at least one goal. It's like it's probably better giving away a corner against Cheltenham than giving away a throw-in anywhere sort of along with the 18-yard box. When Rory Delap, we all remember Rory Delap.
Oh yes.
And that was like a missile, and you could not defend it.
I was watching. No, I was reading a great article in The Athletic with ex-rugby chief, name escapes me. I know Matt will know him. Went to Southampton for a period when he was trying to break into football, and he was under the impression that why couldn't you just get
Clive Woodward?
Yes, Woodward.
Clive Woodward. He won the World Cup, Martin. Come on.
I couldn't think of his name. I'm not a rugby fan in the slightest.
Clive Woodward.
It's not my sport. I'm an NFL fan. I mean, I like my sport a bit more tactical than kicking shit out of people. But the point was, he was under the impression why couldn't you get a throwing coach and make every player throw like that and do something like that? And obviously, Harry Redknapp came into the football club and got radical ideas. But
well, it's good. It's another great throw, didn't you, lads?
He did not.
No, he did. The North Standard, we'd all sort of never. Did we ever score from that long throw?
Maybe one. Yeah.
God, this beer is great. I love it. Right. Moving it on, Clark Woodward. I forgot his name. I do apologise. Playoff places, please, then, gentlemen. We'll start with you, Crunch. We can't forget you this time. I want your playoff teams. Who you feel is going to make those playoffs? Not
where you starting from? 6 upwards.
You can start where you like.
All right, I'll start third. Third place, Ipswich Town.
I mean, I wouldn't say no. Sat here, 5th of August, Tux, but I think we're better than that.
I don't think we're too. I don't think he's. Well, I said second for us, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised because we have to gel. I think it's going to take a while, like Matt said. I think it's going to take a while.
46 games. Got enough games to play with.
It's a lot of games, isn't it? It's almost 50 games to crying out loud.
You can lose like 12 games. I think Pompey lost 11. Peterborough lost 11.
Yeah.
And drew 7.
I think that probably my heart is saying second, but if I'm really being, with my head, maybe it would be the sort of playoffs, and you'd like to think third. But
okay, what's your thinking then, Crunch?
We all want us to get in the top 2, don't we? We all.
Yeah.
I think. I'm just being a little bit realistic here. I think we'll be right in the mix right till the end of the season. It could be one of them games where you remember when Burley was in charge and you go to that game and I think it was Man City were going for it one season. We were there with Bradford another season. I remember in the Cobbold stand there was a goal on the TV. I think Bradford had scored at Wolves.
Yeah.
And then they thought they'd scored again. I think Wolves, and they all jumped up and down and that was a load of rubbish. But sitting here now, if someone said to me, we'll finish third, I'd take that. I really would. And I know we all want to be in the top 2. It's not going to be as easy as everybody thinks. This is not a gimme. Look at the teams we've got. I've got missing out at the playoffs. I've got Portsmouth missing out on the playoffs.
What is your top 6 then? Who's your 4th? Who's your 4th, 5th and 6th then?
Rotherham, 4th. 5th, Sunderland. 6th, Sheffield Wednesday. But I've got an asterisk against Sheffield Wednesday because it depends if Barry Bannon stays. And I see Swansea will link with him, but he says he's happy in Sheffield. But I think if he stays at Sheffield Wednesday, they could get higher than 6th because I think he'll be the best midfielder in this league by a mile.
Now I know you're talking daft.
Bannon is a class player.
He's class, but he's no Raheem Harper or Lee Evans. I'll just leave it at that.
Raheem Harper's done nothing. He's done nothing, Martin. You're giving him Player of the Year on was it 5 minutes?
You're starting to sound like fucking, what's his name? Andy Tate from Man United TV. I'm starting to break into that sort of Barry.
We had a WhatsApp message to Gary after 5 minutes of a friend against Crystal Palace, and Martin was saying, yeah, Raheem Harper's going to be Player of the Year. What?
When you see look, you probably had the same when you saw Ben Watson for the first time. When you see a quality player, you just see a quality player, right?
No.
Hey, he was your FA Cup winner, was he not?
Yeah, come on, a sub.
There you go. You see, I can remember him, but not Clive Woodward. What a great beer this one is.
Ben Watson.
Right. Barry, what's your top 6, my man? Oh, your playoff places.
The playoff places, I've got Lincoln finishing in 3rd.
Okay.
I've got us finishing 4th. Why not?
Yeah.
Charlton 5th. And I think with Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank at the helm, Burton will make up the last place. So them are my 4: Lincoln, us, Charlton and Burton.
All right. Talk to me about Lincoln then, Barry, because that's a fairly lofty position, in my opinion, for Lincoln. Why have you gone from in 3rd?
Just for the way they played last season. Every time I saw them, I had a bit of close ties with the Stacey West as well podcast. I knew, how they were raving about them. I watched them play. I thought they were fantastic. I like Appleton as a manager. Like you say, he's back in there again now, even though he's had that health scare. And I think that they're a really solid team. They played really attractive football against us, and both at their place and when they came down to Wigan, and they were threatening every time they attacked us. I just like what I saw of them. I really did, and I think with the fans behind them, that air raid siren going off all the time, that's going to make a big difference. And perhaps if they'd have had the supporters in this season or last season, they might have actually, gone up. So yeah, definitely Lincoln.
See,
I've picked
can I just say something?
Yeah.
He done a great job Appleton last season. I think he's really good in the loan market. It all depends with them. Brennan Johnson, they obviously not got him, and Rodgers, the lad they had from Man City. They were 2 massive players for them. So it depends what he can do in the loan market to replace them too. If he can replace them sort of like for like, I think they'll be in the mix. But I don't think if they don't get them 2 in, he's got Teddy Bishop there, for fuck's sake. Come on.
They lost George Grant to Peterborough as well. He was a pivotal player, wasn't he?
Oh, Grant, I didn't realise that. Yeah, he's a good player.
Well, your mate, Barry, he says, is Barry on the pop? Lincoln, I'll ring you later to check in, pal. Why Wigan in 4th then, Barry? I know they're your own team, but...
Yeah, like I said, we've got a great starting 11 at the moment. It's just the strength in depth I'm a little bit concerned about, and how quickly they gel. But they're not all new players. I mean, Watmore and Naylor played together at Portsmouth. Power, Jones and Wyke have played together up at Sunderland. So they've got partnerships already within that team. Ben Amos has come in as a keeper, a fantastic keeper in League One. And I just think if we can get a good start, our first game's away at Sunderland, get a draw there, we've got Rotherham at home, another tough fixture. But if we can get past those 2, we're up and running then. And that momentum then can carry us through. And there's a big swell behind the club at the moment in the town. And we're going to see our attendances. We've already outsold our season tickets for the last few seasons. So the support is going to be there. And there's a lot of positivity. And we've signed, for me, the signing of the season in League One in Stevie Humphries. is absolutely brilliant. He's 23 years of age. We got him from Rochdale. That guy is going to be. He's 40-1 to be the division's top scorer. Stick a quid on him. Absolutely
I might do that.
Absolutely superb. So yeah, I'm just buzzing about it. If we finish 10th, it'll not matter. Because we've still got a club.
What about Jordan Jones? Barry? I think he's a really good signing from Rangers.
Yeah, well, again, he's worked with White before, hasn't he? And he's. I know one of you mentioned about McGee providing all White's goals last season. He had 8 assists. That's all. Out of his 31 goals, 8 was supplied by McGee. So they're coming from other places, and Jones knows him. Played 20 games for Sunderland on loan last season. So if he works well with him, and we've got Tom Pearce as well. I don't know if you're aware of Tom Pearce, attacking left back, absolutely brilliant delivery. He got injured around January time last season. Up until then, he was the player with the most assists. Fantastic. So he'll be banging those balls in. So I think Wyke will be knocking the balls in as well, knocking the goals in.
Is Callum Lang still there? Callum Lang still there? Lang?
Oh, Langer, yeah, brilliant. Right. I mean, the striking options we've got. And then, obviously, we've got Will Keane playing like a deep role now.
Christ.
He got 10 goals last season, didn't he?
I'm telling you, he's like a Zinedine Zidane. He's absolutely... You may laugh. You're in for... Honestly, you're in for a big surprise.
Barry, how many have you been having today?
No.
How many of you away day beers you've been drinking this afternoon?
Was he captain? He was captain, wasn't he, Barry?
He did captain us on a couple of occasions. The water up here, there must be something special in it because the number of players whose careers turn around when they come to us is unbelievable. And he has been absolutely superb. Will Keane, you cannot... I mean, he was out for a couple of spells last season with... he had some niggling injuries. Then he caught COVID and he was out for a while with COVID. Then he came back. They got him into the team. Oh, I'm seeing that message coming in there. He got into the team gradually, but once he got his run going, I think he finished with about 7 goals in the last 10 games or something along those lines. Absolutely brilliant.
Carl Brooks, if Will Keane's Zinedine Zidane, then Drinan is Ibrahimovic, Tux. What a line.
I don't know.
I'm going to clip that up forevermore.
I think I need to go to bed now because that is that's cleared me out, I think.
Oh, you gotta love it, Barry. That's great stuff. Simon Gregor, he was very good last season in all seriousness. Yeah, I think he was good for you guys, but not. I mean, you put him up. There were some lofty players there, weren't you?
Well, you know, the League One version, perhaps, shall we say?
There we go. Tux, your playoff teams, my man.
Okay, so I sort of agree with what Cruncher was saying, where we could be third, but I did say second earlier, so I'm going to stick with my prediction where we're second. I think Wigan will be third.
Oh, Barry, there you go. Look, you've convinced him. Zinedine Keane.
It's for that comment, really. I would have put you top, but you know.
I might do.
Fourth, I've got to go Charlton, I think. Fifth, Wickham. 6th, Rotherham.
Okay. Yeah. Ooh, so you've got some big teams missing the top 2 and then missing out altogether.
Yes.
Wow.
I agree with what Crunch was saying about Portsmouth. I don't think they'll be as great this year. I think they sort of start off fairly well, but they sort of falter at the end, I think. Sheffield Wednesday, I don't think they're going to be that great at all this year. But yeah, that's my playoff mix, I think. I just think Rotherham, for me, are a solid team at this level. I think Paul Warne's a very good manager. Seems to keep his teams well drilled. Wickham, Gareth Ainsworth, again, another very good manager. And Charlton, they were my surprise.
It's hard, isn't it? It's hard because you can make a case for a lot of teams making the playoffs, couldn't you, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, only 4 can get in, and that's the 4 that I kind of looked at. And it was more about the squad themselves rather than any kind of individuals or anything like that, and also the managers, because they sort of been there and done it. They know how to get these kind of results. So that's a good 4 there, and I think potentially Ipswich might be that third, but I did go second, so I'm going to stick with second.
Okay, Matt. I mean, you've got some big shoes here to fill. There's some great comments flying. Simon Gray, podcast like every week. It's a brilliant. It was a well, that's what we aim to please, Simon. We aim to please. It is every week. We have a couple of shows a week. We do try for some bad, don't we, Matt?
We do.
A couple. We have more than a couple.
Yeah.
We got more shows than EastEnders.
We do.
We had a show every day at one point.
Well, I was silent. I'm waiting for the transfer special with Lionel Messi. I've already told George sort the thumbnail out.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got Town being champions. I've got Sunderland finishing second. I'm going to go Rotherham at third because I agree with what Tuck said. Warren and yo-yoed between the two divisions, isn't he? And they've got, I think his name's Ogbeni. I think he's a decent little player for them. Yeah. And Coyote, I think he was on loan at Carlisle last season. So I think even though they've lost Matt Crooks, I think
it's on Rathbone. It's on Rathbone, Matt.
And Ollie Rathbone, another one, Rochdale. Barry, we was impressed with him last season. It was sort of like a wasp in midfield. So I think he's a decent little player. He used to be at Man United. So Rotherham in third. I'm going to go Lincoln in fourth. They've signed someone from Man City on loan called Lewis Farini that I'm hearing good things about. And again, if Appleton can stay healthy, and I hope he does, I think he's a really good manager. Mm-hmm. Rumour has it, of course, the Game Changer guys were looking at him to come to Ipswich at one point. Chompton in fifth. Again, for the reasons I said earlier, I think they've done some good moves in the window. I think that Thomas Sandergaard, who's their new Scandinavian owner, has kind of been giving it the big one that they're going to go up. Again, it comes down to Adkins. Whether or not Adkins has still got that drive, I don't know. But I think they've made some good additions. And I was going to say Bolton in sixth, but Barry's kind of got me saying Wigan now. He's convinced me. He has.
He really has.
I've got Wigan in sixth and Bolton sitting in seventh. There you go, Barry. How's that?
I'd set that.
Okay. Wow. My top six. My third to sixth place teams are no surprises here. I'm not going to be a shock master this year. I don't think. I'm going to go Wednesday in third. I think Wednesday are a big side in League One and momentum and fans and all of that sort of jazz. Then I'm going to have Sunderland in fourth. Portsmouth in fifth. That might be a shock to some, I suppose. I think Portsmouth they're a seasoned vet at League One football, and Danny Cowley. Some fans on here during the COVID pandemic when we couldn't go to games were saying we should have got him, not Cookie, and all that sort of jazz. Now suddenly it's Portsmouth aren't good. I don't know. I think it's the truth is somewhere in between. I think they'll finish inside the top six. That they're a good little side. And my last place team. It's a toss up between Rotherham and Wickham. To be fair, I think Ainsworth does a marvelous job every year. I don't know how he does it. To be fair, he's a rock star in looks and in management. I'll go Wickham.
He's on Sam Vokes there. I think he could be
great signing.
Signing in. I know he struggled at Stoke. I think he got 1 goal in 30 odd games, but I think League One. I think he could do a very good job. I think they lost. Ikpia's has gone to Middlesbrough. Ladapo. Where did he go? Did he go to Luton? I think
he did.
No, Omni didn't, Dimney or whatever. He went to Luton.
Went to Luton. Yeah.
The problem with Wickham, Rich, I think, is they kind of relied on that kind of team spirit to get promoted in the first place. I think now we've got some big spenders.
Well, they played the system, Matt, to be quite fair.
I personally can't see it, but we will see. I think they relied on team spirit to go up last time round.
But they've got that again, though, Matt. And I think they're a team that need a cause. And their cause this year is Derby are still playing Championship football despite suspended sentences and God knows whatever else, blah, 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 can't sign players. But yet they're down there. And really, it should be the roles reversed. And if football was all the way it should be, and Barry knows about that, right? Absolutely. So there'll be a club that will have that, and that will galvanise them because they should be back. And I don't think it'll galvanise them enough to be a top 2 side, but certainly on that 6th place, on that 5th place, 7th place, and teams like Wigan will push them all the way. I really do think that. I'm not saying because Barry's sat there. I do think Wigan are a good side. Just not quite sure if they're going to be a playoff side. So who's our top 2 then, Barry? We'll start with you first. Who's your top 2?
With top 2 in no particular order, Ipswich and Rotherham.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cookie's a magic man. He is. You'll see that. I'm convinced. And like we've mentioned before with Paul Warner at Rotherham, he's another ex-Wigan athletic player. Always do well, your club up and down. I picked Rotherham to win it a couple of weeks back, and I think I'll stick with that. And with Ipswich, I think it'll go down to the last day. You don't play them the last game of the season, do you, by any chance?
Charlton we got.
Tough. Yeah. So, I'll go Rotherham first, Ipswich second.
Okay. Cruncher, I won't forget you this time, my man. Who's,
well, I'm looking at these fixtures. It's like we say, Charlton. We've got Charlton last, and we've got Barry's mob, the home game before it. So, my top two, I've got Wigan coming second, and I've got Charlton.
Ipswich.
Yeah, and I've got Charlton winning the league.
Okay, all right.
But Charlton winning the league.
That's stolen my thunder a little bit, but there we go.
Why not?
I agree. I agree with you, Crunch. I agree with you.
You think Charlton winning the league as well?
Nigel Atkins, he's got out of this league twice, man. He's taken 2 teams out of this league already. He's a really good manager.
Magic hands, Atkins. Magic hands.
They've got a bit of momentum. I think they've sold nearly 10,000 season tickets. Look, it is a toss-up. I think it'll be really close between them 3 teams. And these games towards the end of the season, Wigan and Charlton, could be absolutely crucial. You know, we are at home on both of them, which is a good thing. But I think it could go down to the last game of the season, Town v Charlton, and we both could have a chance of getting in the top. I just think Charlton. I like Charlton as a football club. It's a good away day. They've got a good fish and chip shop just near the ground.
They're getting points for that now, are they?
Not really, but it's a good away day. They're another team who really they've had some tough times like us. You know, look at the owners. They had their when they what's a shambles. But they tennis balls on the pitch. I remember throwing and So I just think I like Adkins. I think he's a really good manager at this level. Wigan, I think they've got some really good signings, and I think it's going to be Cookie v Richardson, isn't it? I think it's going to go down to the wire for them.
Could well do. Matt, you don't obviously agree with Charlton, so who are you top to?
I can see Charlton being top 6, but no. I mean, look, I like Adkins. I like his Twitter account, which I think what Martin's basing his prediction on, but not enough to be top 2. Absolutely not. No, I'm sticking with us as champions. I mean, if we don't go up as in the top 2, with the signings we're making, the financial power we've got behind us right now, with more signings to come. So I think we'll be number 1. And I think Sunderland, who've got similar spending power, albeit, as Barry said, we've got Paul Kirk. I don't think they've got as good as manager as us in Lee Johnson.
Not put a striker in yet, Matt. They've not replaced Charlie White. They're hoping that Grig's going to come to the party.
Is he got players level?
Good luck with that.
I don't know. I think Grigg is a momentum player, and he needs to run games. Oh yeah, Barry, what do you think about Wigan?
What do you think, Wigan?
Will Griggs is an absolute hero. He usually starts scoring around about November, and the second half of the season, we all know he's always on fire. I think the problem with Sunderland, they've no fullbacks. They've not got a fullback on the books. So, they're struggling there, and the recruitment. We talked to a Sunderland guy last night on our podcast, and he said the recruitment guy there said that they're not just going to sign any player; they're only going to sign the right player. So they're waiting for people to become available. So I mean, it's our first game of the season. I think we'll probably snatch a draw there, but if they get off to a slow start, then the pressure's on straight away, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously they had the abundance of White's goals last season, didn't they? I actually thought they were going to sneak top 2 when they were on that little run. But they finished 4th in the end. Was it 4th? 80-something points.
Good question.
Yeah,
above us. Put it that way.
Yeah, I think they've got the French kid. I think he's coming. Is it Cyril something? His family used to own Marseille way back. I think they've got the spending power across 2 windows to be able to finish top 2. So same as us.
Certainly top 6 was where I had them. Maybe not top. I don't know about top 2, but yeah. I brought obviously Alex Pritchard in, who from Huddersfield. This level was going to be a decent player. Tux. Corey Evans from Blackburn, free transfer. Callum Doyle and Jacob Craney. Who you got, Tux?
It's whether Tux. It's whether or not they've got a good manager. I'm still undecided about Johnson.
Yeah,
streaky
big question mark. Big question mark.
Manager.
Yeah, maybe. Go on, Tux.
I think I will put Sunderland top. I think I agree with what Barry's saying about the fullbacks. I think they do need to obviously get fullbacks in the building, but I think we've got a month until the window closes, so I think they'll sort that position out. I think a lot of people are looking at Sunderland saying, well, how they've not replaced White yet, they haven't got anyone in, etc., etc. But I think Ross Stewart is a capable replacement. Very tall player, can hold it up and score goals. The only reason why he wasn't playing or scoring goals because obviously White was doing that. And I also think Grigg might come good for them. He scored a couple of goals in pre-season, I think, for him. So it wouldn't be surprised if Grigg does the business for him this year. I like Pritchard as well. I think he's a good player, injury prone, but a very good player. Sunderland will be up there for me. I'm also not wholly convinced on Lee Johnson, but at the same time, they seem to be like Johnson did very well towards the back end of the season because they had Parkinson, didn't they?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
They seem to be a club that wants to get rid of their manager. They sort of crack on with it. But we'll see with them. But I think they'll be top two, I'd say, and then joining them. I mean, as I said earlier, I'd like to say Ipswich. I'm not so sure. So I'd probably go Charlton potentially or Wigan.
Through the course of the evening, it's really interesting plotting Tux's confidence because we finished the town show. He's riding high, crest of a wave, quite confident. Through the show,
I'm just looking at everyone now. I'm looking at everyone. I'm thinking, shit, like we are actually up against it here.
You can see the as everyone's saying about their different things about different teams, the confidence out of Tux is just drained. To the point, in a minute, 10 more minutes, Barry, we'll be the bottom four. Yeah. He'll be worried about us. He really will. Who knows? My top two, Town, Charlton. I don't care which way around they go, to be quite blunt with you. They're both being promoted. I'd like to be champions, of course. I do think Charlton, Nigel Adkins, I would always say Nigel Adkins was robbed when he was Saints manager. Yeah. Got that team to the Premier League, got him in a top 10 position, and then they went and sacked him. Yes, okay, they got Mauricio Pochettino in, not a bad replacement. But I've also seen that flip and go horribly, horribly wrong. Yeah. But still, I feel this guy got you up from League One, 2 promotions, built a team, built the team Pochettino did well with, and then you ditched him. Yes, he's got a great Twitter account. That also helps. I love his every day's a new day to attack mentality. And I like his transfers this year. You've got a good goalkeeper in Craig McGilvery. Very good. And we all know what a good goalkeeper at this level can do. And you've just brought a couple of extra players in there, like Jaden Stockley, centre forward from Preston. I like Stockley at League One level. And I feel they're building something. And they're going to be a team that maybe, be like us or Wigan or whoever, start slowly. And then just they bring it to the ball at the right time. And that game, Charlton Ipswich, last day of the season, Sky Sports, I can see it now. It'll be for who goes up as champions. Possibly even a three-way team situation where at any point any of the three teams could be promoted.
That's what I'm going for. That's what I'm going for. Yeah. It's going to be right to the wire. And I agree with it. I think Lee Anderson there in the chat saying about the squad we've got. It all depends, doesn't it? Because we're giving our predictions here, 5th of August. We've still got 3 weeks to go. It could change a lot. We might have 5 or 6, well, I'm hoping, 5 or 6 players to add real depth to our squad because at the minute, like I said on the show before, we are pretty paper thin when it comes to the squad. In the midfield, the key area midfield, you've got Evans, you've got Harper. Who have you got after that? John Nolan, he's still injured. Defensively, we still need a centre-back. We still need another wide player. We probably need 4 or 5 players. So, and it depends, doesn't it? We don't know what happens through the season. You might get key injuries. You don't know. But we will be right up there in the mix come the end of the season. I'm pretty sure of that.
Absolutely. Right, last question of the evening before we recharge glasses and go on our way. We have got biggest underachievers. This is difficult for me because I feel like the big teams will come to the party this year. But going off how the bookies rate the teams, can we have your biggest underachiever from the top 10 teams that the bookies like? And the top 10 teams they like are Ipswich, Sunderland, Wednesday, Charlton, Wigan, Lincoln, Portsmouth, Rotherham, Oxford, and Bolton. And for the conversation, I'll disqualify Bolton from you, Barry, because I think that's too easy. I think that'd be a gimme. So you can have MK Dons as a part of that. Crunch, because I keep missing you off. You kick us off with this one. Who's your biggest underachiever?
Portsmouth, because they're fans of shithouses. There you go. That's enough.
Jackbrook FC. All right, that's a fair point. Matt,
I'd love to see their piss boil as we march up the top and they struggle.
Struggled.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Actually, I think it'll be Pompey as well. I think that could be like a little bit of a transition season for them. As Barry said, they've got up locally, Bolton are whinging about things that you can see Portsmouth doing the same. We haven't got the spending power. I feel like the excuses are coming out a little bit for them. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't got them in the top 6. I think they'll sit outside. I think they've got good managers. They've got the Cowley brothers are good, and I would like to have had them at Town as well. But I don't know. I just feel like they've lost their CEO who's left. Mark Catlin, who I used to work with, of course, way back. I think he was a real big influence on them. I think they'll finish top 10, but well away from the top 6.
Okay, Tux?
I sort of agree with what the guys are saying. I think Pompey will struggle. My other one was probably, I don't know if you said it in your list, Martin, but I think probably Sheffield Wednesday.
Yes.
Really from a financial point of view. They've obviously still got some good players, but I just don't think they're at it as what probably the other sort of teams have come down, but also the teams that are spending money now and they're in those positions that we spoke about earlier. So for me, I think it's either got to be Pompey or Sheffield Wednesday.
Two big teams that if they do miss out, it's obviously going to be huge. That would be huge. Barry, who have you got as an underachiever this year?
Yeah, I agree with what I said there about Sheffield Wednesday. With off the field, they're a bit of a mess, aren't they? And that's going to affect them. But they've still got some good players in there. They've got Shea Dunkley, centre half, played for us. I know what he's like. And like you said, Barry Bannon, if he's going to stick around, he might not be the greatest player in ever to grace League One, but he's an absolute doozing centre mid at this level.
Oh, he is, yeah.
But for me, even though they've got all the money, and I think they'll panic, I think they'll sack the manager. Sunderland, I don't think they'll finish in the top 6.
Wow.
Yeah, a slow start. There'll be disruptions. The crowd will get on the back. We know what they're like up there. I see them. And that'll be a massive underachievement if they don't make the playoffs. So I'll go for Sunderland.
There's some big teams there. And this is the point of the exercise, I suppose. Imagine the League One tables without any of those three inside the top 6. But it's got to happen.
It's interesting, Tuck saying about Sunderland and Barry as well, because when we went to the forum last week and how Cookie said about the 12th man, working against them. And you know what that crowd's like at Sunderland. If they're not doing well, they'll soon turn on them.
And I've said this, and I've said that crowd will work in Wednesday's favour in my prediction, top 6. And you're right, it very easily could work against them. And particularly if United are doing better in the Championship than maybe some are expecting. Because if they're doing well and you're not doing so well, that's a very volatile crowd that could flip quite easily. And I'm going to say Oxford as a sort of a get out of jail free card. And thanks to the bookies, not quite sure why the bookies are ranking them so high. I think maybe this is the year Carl Robinson. I don't want to say gets found out, but I'll say gets found out.
They had quite a slow start last year, didn't they?
They've done a bottom 4. But at some point, you've got to think that's got that luck. Well, not luck, but that ability to start slow, really slow, and then crawl yourselves out. It's got to.
They were poor in the playoffs as well, weren't they? They lost it in the first leg, didn't they? In the first half of the first leg, I think.
They did. Yeah. I just think Oxford, for me, to me, playoffs 2 years in a row, so anything but a top 6 finish could be seen as a disappointment. I know it's a get out of jail free card. It really kind of is. But I'll take it. I'll take it. Anybody else want to chime in with anything League One related before we turn the lights off?
I just think we're sitting here on a Thursday night. We haven't been in stadiums for 18 months. And I don't know how Barry's feeling, but all of us should be jumping.
I am. Yeah.
Saturday morning, get out of bed. Hopefully that you pull back the curtains, the sun's shining. We're going back to football, guys. What more do you want?
Yeah.
3 points.
I'll just say one thing. I can't go on Saturday because I'm going to a stag do in Nottingham. However, I have managed. I have managed. It's going to be Soccer Saturdays in a pub somewhere in Nottingham, watching it. And yeah, I just can't wait for football to return. Like, you know, we've had all the Euros and, you know, the good bits and the bad bits about all of that. But, you know, for me, the real football is supporting my club and following my club. And, you know, whether it be home and away or on a stag do in Nottingham, it's one of these sort of things where, you know, it's right in there. And I'm so pleased it's back. And it's a new era as well. That's the main fact.
Well, this is it. A quick question from Simon. What's your views on the reffing in this league? I should ask Crunch as the resident referee, but I'll ask Matt instead as the FA media mogul. How do you view the referee in this division?
I don't know. I mean, everyone starts with a clean slate, don't they? But I thought the refereeing in the Euros was very good. I think we'll probably
you ain't getting that at this level, are you? Fucking hell.
I think by default we'll probably compare to that. But I don't know. I can't really answer that, to be honest with you. It's a difficult one. Difficult one to answer.
It's easy, shocking, absolutely shocking, the officiating in this league. Utterly shy. I mean, I remember the first. What was it? Was it the Wickham game? I can't remember who the ref was now, but that is literally the worst game of refereeing I've ever seen at Portsmouth.
I was in an FA meeting with that guy once. Alan, his name is, very nice chap. But he didn't referee well. He didn't referee well.
It was a lino. That lino give that offside. I think the next week he was running the line or reffing at Stonemarket. He's a Colchester fan, wasn't he? That guy was running the line.
His name Aaron Palmer.
Aaron something,
I think his name was, Ryan Senior field refereeing in England on the whole last year was poor. I think they're shy. The referee on Saturday on the last friendly was shy. Barry, what do you think about refereeing in this division?
Awful. It is so. You probably can pick 2 or 3 decent ones, and that's it. And then you stop. Can I just mention something about what was said about going back to the grounds? As a Wigan Athletic supporter, and all of us I've spoken to, I've shared these sentiments. Don't take your clubs for granted. Yeah. Get there, get it on them terraces, pay your money for your tickets and support them, because we were on the brink last year of losing it, and when they've gone, they're not coming back, and it's a massive part of your life. So ride with them through the highs and the lows, and just enjoy every second. And it's about us. It's about us, the fans, and let's just get back there and enjoy it, and do not take them for granted. That's all I'll say.
Perfect, absolutely perfect way to end. We're back on Saturday with our pre-game show live from the fan zone. Then directly after the kickoff with the full-time whistle, we'll be live, bringing the fans' views from Portman Road as they spill out of the terraces. Been a thoroughly enjoyable evening. Barry, thank you so much for joining us. Wish you well for 44 games. Matt, Crunch, Tux, thank you ever so much. Let's see how we get on this year. But yeah, it's a new era. See you Saturday.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now. Let's move closer to a new history, find out what we can be together. Take my hand and we will conquer the world. This is our final chance. 'Cause one day we'll be looking back at this. We were in a big mess together. But we found a way to choose right from wrong. We found the strength to go on together.